TomoNews presents the flu season. This flu season in the U.S. could be a bad one. The flu has arrived early in North America as officials worry this season's outbreak could be severe. According to the CDC, the percentage of patients reporting flu-like symptoms reached the 2.2% threshold by late November, indicating flu season has begun. Experts believe the U.S. could be hit hard by the H3N2 strain this year, which the flu vaccine was found to be only 10% effective against. Flu vaccinations cause the body to develop antibodies in about 2 weeks. These antibodies then help fight against viruses in the vaccine. The seasonal flu vaccine is designed to protect against influenza strains researchers predict will be the most common during the upcoming season. Guess they didn't predict too well this year. Anyway, you should still get shots as the vaccine still protects against other flu strains. How the flu can knock you out for good. The flu is slamming the U.S. this season and has already claimed the lives of at least 30 children. Although most people do not die from the flu, young children and people with other illnesses such as heart disease, lung disease, and diabetes are at elevated risks. Adults can succumb to the flu in 3 ways: pneumonia, sepsis, and heart attack. A person who is infected with influenza can develop pneumonia, an infection where the air sacs of the lungs fill with fluid or pus. With sepsis, the flu triggers the release of chemicals into the blood to fight infection, which in turn causes inflammation throughout the body. That inflammation can then trigger multiple organ system failure. The flu can also lead to heart attacks. A new study found that a person is 6 times more likely to have a heart attack during the week after being diagnosed with the flu compared to the year before or after the infection. Experts are urging people to go out and get flu shots even though they still may get the flu. Some protection is still better than nothing.
This year's influenza strain could be especially deadly to children. ABC News reports that 3 children have died of complications from a particularly aggressive strain of flu this year already, with 7 more children still hospitalized. ABC News reports that the CDC has stated that about 90% of flu cases so far this year have been the H3N2 subtype. Children, the elderly, and anyone with a compromised immune system are most vulnerable to this particular subtype of flu. ABC News reports that Dr. Pritish Tosh from the Mayo Clinic says the H3N2 flu virus can enter the bloodstream and then the brain, causing shortness of breath and a very high fever. Tosh added that even the immune systems of healthy children can overcompensate, causing white blood cells to flood the lungs. He added that the H3N2 strain of flu is not well matched to the predictions of the surveillance community, which means that this year's vaccine is also not a great match for the virus. However, Tosh added that this does not necessarily mean a vaccine will not help curb the spread of the flu, and encourage members of the public to get their flu shots. Thousands of dogs infected with Asian canine flu in US Midwest. Thousands of dogs across the US Midwest have been infected with a new strain of dog flu originating in Asia. The canine influenza virus is a strain known as H3N2. Once infected, dogs develop symptoms including a persistent cough, runny nose, and fever. The virus can be transmitted from dogs to cats, but not to humans. The virus has been circulating among dog populations in southern China and South Korea. Experts say it could have been introduced to Chicago by a dog traveling from Asia that was carrying but not yet displaying symptoms of the illness. Thousands of dogs in Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio have now been infected by the virus. It is estimated that less than 10% of affected dogs die from the illness. 6 dogs have died out of the 1,137 cases reported so far in the Chicago area.
Highly contagious strain of bird flu detected at Dutch poultry farm. A highly contagious strain of the bird flu virus has been discovered at a poultry farm in the Netherlands. The highly contagious H5N8 strain of bird flu was detected at a poultry farm in the village of Heckendorp, south of Amsterdam, on Saturday. In response, Dutch authorities have announced they are in the process of slaughtering all 150,000 birds at the farm. The same strain of bird flu was reported in Germany's northeastern state of Mecklenburg-Vorpommern on November 4th. More than 30,000 turkeys were slaughtered at the German farm. Bird flu poses a health threat to humans as they can contract the illness by handling infected poultry. In an attempt to contain the virus, the Netherlands has imposed a 72-hour ban on the transportation of poultry products across the country.
Chinese scientists have deciphered the genetic composition of a new kind of H10N8 avian virus, a novel reassortment of previously reported H10N8 viruses. To date, 2 human cases of the new H10N8 virus have been discovered in Nanchang, China. A 73-year-old woman died 9 days after showing influenza symptoms in December last year. Like other influenza viruses, hemagglutinin proteins, which let the virus latch onto a cell, extend from the new H10N8 virus. Researchers found that the hemagglutinin gene of the H10N8 virus is most closely related to that of the H10N3 virus, which was found in ducks in China's Hunan province. Besides hemagglutinin, an influenza virus also has neuraminidase proteins, which enable the virus to leave the host cell and attack other cells. Neuraminidase proteins on the newly discovered H10N8 virus are similar to those of an H10N8 virus isolated from a mallard in South Korea, and an H3N8 virus detected among birds in Japan. All 6 internal genes of the new H10N8 virus were closely related to those of the H9N2 viruses that are circulating in poultry in China. Its genes also encode PB2 proteins, which make adaptation to mammalian hosts easier. Though no evidence of human-to-human transmission has been found so far, scientists warn that the virus's pandemic potential should not be underestimated.
Researchers say the H7N9 virus is evolving to adapt to human cells. The influenza virus contains 8 RNA segments of genetic material needed to make new viruses. Hemagglutinin and neuraminidase activity proteins are at the surface. When 2 strains of the virus enter a host cell, their parts can combine within the cell to produce a new mutant strain. Samples taken from recent cases of the H7N9 virus in China indicate that the strain is related to 3 different strains of avian flu. Mutations found in the hemagglutinin proteins of the H7N9 virus allow it to thrive in the cooler temperatures of the human upper respiratory system and thus infect human cells. Scientists believe that the virus could mutate into a strain that could eventually transmit between humans, raising the risk of a pandemic.